Henderson Chief of Police is fighting back against criticism of his office. This week, the unions representing Henderson officers and supervisors announced a vote of no confidence in Chief Thedrick Andres, citing a hostile work environment and issues with a new use of force policy that was enacted, they say, without union input. But in an exclusive interview with News 3, the chief says his leadership is about transparency and making improvements.
But I have continued to face a union leadership that it appears to be, whether we're building new stations, we're adding more officers, we're reducing crime, it seems like it's never enough with Chief Andres. And as I said, it appears to be my unions are calling me an outsider, and I've been here for 4 years and 9 months. I think that the members of the Henderson Police Department know that we're built on honor, professionalism, and dedication. I think that they know our vision is to be one of the premier police agencies in America, and we will do that together.
All the trailheads, I know all the trail names, I know the distances.
Rebecca Thomas is a regular at Red Rock Canyon.
Yes, very familiar with them.
A dedicated runner, she feels safe among the plants and wildlife. It's the conservation area's parking lots.
How many times do you think someone's broken into your car?
I've actually, that I know of, 4 times.
She worries about.
And as soon as I came back from my run, I noticed my door was open. And I looked at my door, and someone had taken what looked like a drill and drilled into the lock.
And the evidence isn't hard to find. Shattered glass, even part of a broken window, litter the ground at the Craft Mountain lot in Calico Basin. In early October, the Bureau of Land Management believes there were 10 cars broken into in this lot in a single weekend, although only 5 were reported.
This is a place that attracts a lot of people who have their mind focused on something else, and it's a thing to do.
John Aslan is with BLM Public Affairs, who says despite a recent rash in this type of crime, the numbers are going down. So far this year, 51 reported car break-ins. In 2021, there were 75. In 2020, 105.
We did make 2 arrests last year. We had 2 years before that. And they are organized groups that they plan all this out. They go out and they rent a car in a fake name, and they're very hard to track.
But not impossible. There are cameras in parking lots, some visible, some hidden. Aslan says there are also people constantly watching, blending into the crowd, providing information to law enforcement.
Aslan says they are also seeing more instances of thieves using jammers, devices that prevent your key fob from locking your car door. So unless you hear the beep, don't assume the car is secure. Or better yet, lock it manually.
We just tend to stash everything in the trunk and hope that's going to be here when we get back.
And it's not just a Red Rock Canyon problem. This is from a few years ago at a trailhead near Pasadena, California. Dashcam video showing a man breaking into a car and rifling through a wallet he finds in the center console. He even pops the trunk. Aslan says leave valuables at home.
If you come out here and then open up your trunk and throw your purse in the trunk, there could be somebody in a vehicle right over there that's just waiting.
As for Thomas,
I really wish that they were just out here more.
She'd like to see a heavier police presence from the BLM.
They're loud, they're obnoxious, they're taking over intersections. It's been a problem for a couple years.
Sergeant Russell Bybee knows the intersection well. Tropical Parkway at Mount Hood, where evidence of a recent street takeover remains, from tire marks to tire pieces.
These events are hyped up. They're hyped up on social media.
The type of behavior Metro's raid team is putting the brakes on.
You'll have people hanging outside of the vehicles, filming. You'll have spectators that come up and they want to get real close and film. And as you can imagine, it's so dangerous.
And it's not just happening in out-of-the-way spots.
Would go in the middle of the intersection and kind of run their hydraulic system, and then they would do donuts and things in the middle of the intersection.
Jason Taylor owns Nevada Brew Works in the Las Vegas Arts District. He says right after his business opened 2 years ago, dozens of drivers would shut down the intersection of Main and Imperial on weekends. He credits Metro for putting a stop to it.
It was very disruptive to business. We had a lot of people coming and going. We had people that would come maybe as far down as Imperial Drive here, and they wouldn't want to kind of walk through all the traffic, or they wouldn't want to come in because they didn't want to get too close to kind of all the commotion that was going on.
The raid unit was officially formed in February. Since then, they've arrested 123 people for reckless driving violations and impounded 133 vehicles. And take a look at this scene. Police say in October, street racing led to a 7-car crash at West Flamingo and Fort Apache. The drivers involved suspected of going over 100 miles per hour through the densely populated intersection. Miraculously, no one was killed.
But addressing reckless driving is only half the mission for RAID. The other is DUI prevention, contacting drivers after a second DUI arrest to see if they'd be willing to work with social services. It's a new approach to a very old problem.
We talk to them and we say, hey, what was going on during your DUI? What can we do to help?
Officer Michael Teal says about 60% of people contacted voluntarily accept help, including one offender who turned to alcohol after the death of his spouse.
We know that arresting is not going to stop that problem. We know that we're not going to solve it completely, but how can we reduce? How can we reduce not only the fatals on our roadway, but the recidivism within DUIs?
As for that takeover at Tropical Parkway in Mount Hood, this video helped police identify at least one vehicle involved.
Step out for me.
And the driver was arrested. According to Metro, he was a repeat offender and sentenced to 6 months.
Hands behind your back, palms together, spread your feet.
Here's another example. The person behind the wheel of this white Corvette also identified through video surveillance, smoking his tires 1 minute,
Pull the driver out, I'll get the passenger.
stopped and under arrest the next. Metro even tweeting out it was the driver's father's car.
Hands across your chest. Walk back to my partner.
We're not trying to disrupt or discourage people from meeting and having a good time. A lot of people have nice cars. However, there's a right way to enjoy the car scene and the car culture, and there's the wrong way. And those who are doing it the wrong way are the ones that we're going after.